What's up, City Skylines fans? Socks Way Up is back with another episode of Lake Sockside. It's been a while. Summer's been busy, a lot of stuff going on, but we're finally back with a new episode. It's been so long that I had to go back and look at the last one to see what we were doing, and we started the downtown area, and I remembered I loved it. And actually, as I started editing this video, I found some footage from about a month ago that I was recording to make a new episode that just didn't get made. So it is the first part of this, and then the second half of the episode was recorded fresh recently. And I think that's enough looking at the old builds here in the little cinematics that City Skylines allows us to do. Let's jump right into it. So we marked down a placement area for our future college university, and that's what we're doing in this episode. We're getting that started, getting it established, as well as extending the downtown and getting the rest of that built out. We don't finish it. It's going to take a lot of episodes. We're doing a little bit more detailing than we have in previous episodes. Getting back to that, the itch was getting there as I jump back into the game. Really wanted to do a little bit more detailing than we have in the previous episodes, so you will see that later on. This first part of the episode is going to be pretty similar to the other ones. We're going to lay down a bunch of buildings. We're going to lay down a bunch of parking lots. I'm not going to talk too much in this episode. I'm going to just let you enjoy the time lapse, and I'll jump in when I think it's necessary. But before I give my voice a rest, for anybody who's new here, thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy the video. Just kind of fill you in on our style of videos that we do here. I record everything that I do while I'm building. I pick and choose what I put in the videos based off of helping you understand and seeing my thought process as I'm building things out. So you will see me place buildings down or roads down or paths down, tear them out, redo them. I keep those in the videos intentionally so you can kind of see the thought process play out on screen. That's why I wanted to make these videos. I wanted to show my way of building city skylines or building cities in city skylines. Not saying I'm an expert, not saying I'm great at it, but I think everybody can learn from each other. That's what we're doing here. So hopefully you can get a little bit out of this for your own inspiration. And once you're done watching this video, you turn City Skylines on and you start playing yourself as well. And right here is a perfect example of what I was talking about. I placed those parking lots down earlier. I decided I didn't like where they were eventually and moved these other clubhouses, or I forget what they're called exactly, the book club, into this area. Did 4 of them in kind of a square, make this just a little centralized area for kids to hang out, or students to hang out. I guess they're adults, not really kids at university. While they're studying, they have their book club. They can also have this little park area to kind of congregate, hang out, and just spend some time. We don't get to the complete detailing of this section of the university in this episode. I'm super excited about that. We placed down a couple trees here, but that's about it. We're going to come back and finish that one up in the next episode. I'm back. Right here, we are doing a little bit of what we mentioned in the last episode, where we're having the high density housing, the skyscrapers slowly lead back into low residential and smaller buildings. You can kind of see that from the skyline, where it's tall and then it goes to somewhat of those medium-sized ones, back down to normal low density buildings. And here we're just throwing some placeholders for services in the area. I was paying attention to some of the needs and decided to just throw some buildings down here. We end up finishing this section. I ended up doing a lot of it off camera. You can kind of see it in some screenshots or some cinematics that we show towards the end of the episode, how it turned out. And here we start the detailing phase. I ended up playing with some of the procedural objects here. I found this planter U-shaped that I thought was perfect. I wanted to size it to the right size to be able to fit right in between those cutouts, or inside this cutout, slide it in like it's built into the building. So what we're doing here is we're starting to customize around the building as well as just landscaping. So we're pushing this in, and it looks like it's part of the building and making it our own. And that's what we're trying to do in the rest of this episode. A lot of detailing like this, a lot of just recreating the asset itself, but inside the game, so we don't have to actually render it and do all that stuff and make it our own. And you can see here I am trying to be very symmetrical with these two different planters. I end up reusing them on the other side of the building as well. And after we get this original or initial one set down, we're able to, copy and paste them with Move It. One thing I do want to mention is these time lapses are played back at ×3. So you can see some of the times when I'm in Find It and I'm moving kind of slow, it even seems slow at ×3, where I'm actually really trying to think, what do I want to put in this area? There's a lot of trial and error that goes into the way that I build. I honestly don't really have a plan when I start building. I just kind of go with the flow of what comes out, put some music in my headphones, and just kind of go with it and let the recording just undo's not the right word. Unfold, that's the word I'm looking for. And there's a lot of deleting. I do a lot of changes and I don't like it. I try this out again. Trial and error is key for me. Sometimes I'll do an entire section, and one of those sections happens to be recorded in this session, and I cut it out of the video completely because I might come back to it and completely redo it because I don't like it. And that's fine. That's one thing it took me forever to get used to in City Skylines, was building out a section, building out a neighborhood, not liking it and deciding I have to live with it. That's how I felt for a very long time. I've talked about this a lot in my videos over the last year. It's okay to delete things and redo it. It's your city. Nobody cares. Make it what you want it to be. If you're not happy with it, tear it down. Ignore the demand. It will recover. Sometimes when you get rid of a lot of buildings, the demand really fluctuates and gets kind of crazy. If you're paying attention to those things, eventually the game will catch up. It'll get back to normal. It'll feel like it never happened. It's your city. Do what you want with it. Redo things that you're not happy with. Make it look as pretty as you want. Make it look as awesome as you want it to be. It is all up to you. Again, I don't know why I'm having this rant. It's just what's in my head while I'm watching this playback and doing the voiceover. I hope you're enjoying it. So one of the things you'll notice here is I'm adding some curbs, and the reason why I wanted to start adding the curb around this flower base or flower pot area was to hide some of the flaws in the asphalt or the pavement that is around this area. You can kind of see it when we're on the other side of the building. I was playing around with a bunch of curbs, finally found one I liked, then we start placing them down here. And I really started using this trick a while ago where instead of having to fix all of the clipping issues like you're seeing there, you kind of just cover it up with other assets and other decals and props, and now you have no idea it's there. On this other side, we're gonna have to adjust the lighting so we can see what we're doing. I play around with the wrong slider for a little bit there, then we get it. You kind of take your time and you can get this to a place where you want it. You can hide some of those flaws that happens with the buildings if you don't have the right decals to just stamp right on top of it. I've limited the mods that I have in my game so it'll run smoothly right now, so I've gotten rid of a lot of those tricks that I was using in some of the Salt River Valley videos and some of the previous ones that we're doing like Chillhorn. But you can see there we make this nice curve or angled winding little curving area that we're able to customize ourselves. We don't use a lot of props in this episode other than the curbs and plants. Here we do a couple benches, we do some umbrellas and some tables down here, but not too much. Most of it's a lot of landscaping in this one. So I decided to add some lighting into this section of the college, and I don't play a lot at nighttime. We do switch it over here in a little bit just to kind of see how it turned out, and it actually jumped or made a huge part of my design there of those curves pop out that I forgot to finish. So it's kind of nice to put the lights on at night, see a different angle of it, a different view of it, and also make sure that your lighting is intact correctly when you are placing lights down. I forget about that aspect of the game. These cities look beautiful at night. I need to do that more often because I really enjoyed this part of the build. All right, we jump ahead a little bit. Somebody forgot to hit the record button in a little recording session, so there's a little bit missing here of what we did to finish out this little square of the university. I think it turned out wonderful. I love it. There's some rocks we put in there, some more of our, yellow and red and beige trees that we've been using in Lake Sockside. I think it turned out great. A lot more detailing to come. The next maybe 2 episodes might be just in this area, hoping just one more. But we're to jump right into the next area, and this is really what I feel like is the feature area. At least I love the way it turned out. This little park area, if I was a student at this university, this is where I'd be hanging out doing all my studying. I do a fence around here. If you've watched any of my episodes, you know that I hate fences, so I'm gonna cut a lot of that out of the video so you don't have to see me struggle with it. Oh gosh, I hate fences. All right, so we got the fences done, and then we start doing some more curbs around here. I wanted to cover up those flaws of the concrete, and so that's what we're doing. I wasn't sure about my choice of curve here until I got about halfway done, and then I thought, man, I really like the way this is turning out. I think the colors work really good of this. It's kind of like a marble looking color here. It turns out great. I like the way we're able to kind of just frame out this grass section of the park, make it kind of a visually stimulating area of the park where your eyes are just going to jump right to it when you're there, and you'll see that later on in a few minutes as we get done with this curbing. This is going to be another one of those sections where I try to do a few things. I hate it. I redo them. Trial and error, trial and error. That's like the key to this episode that I keep bringing up. A lot of trial and error going on in here, and I'm taking my time making sure I like the final outcome of each section as I finish them. And here's some of that trial and error. I've always wanted to use the circular tool with the prop line tool, the circular function of it. So we tried a couple rows of circles around this fountain. I didn't like it. I ended up getting rid of it. We ended up getting rid of the fountain as well. I just didn't like the way it was turning out. So, you know, we redid it, trial and error again. So we keep plugging away at this, and I wanted to bring some color. I really like this tall red reeds grass, I guess is what it's called. I really like the way it adds some depth to the grass instead of it just being a flat 2D object. You see here, I realized, yeah, the fountain's not working out, and my memory jumped back to rocks. I like placing rocks in sections like this because it fills the area. And to me, I like to think of it as the rock was always there and we built the park around it, and it makes it that centerpiece of this area for people to come and see some nature and not just have trees and plants everywhere. So a little bit more diversity. Here we're using these other planter boxes to kind of make this multiple double square area into a large rectangle, make it symmetrical, really make this asset our own. We used the concrete in the center there. We end up adjusting that in the future as well. But you can see we are starting to place the trees into these planters. Something about this being symmetrical means that once we get done with this section, we can just copy and paste it to the other part of the park that is exactly the same. And that's what we do. It speeds up the build time big time. And here in the center, I first put down, I think it's the cliff tile. I wasn't too thrilled with that, so then we adjusted it to the sand, as you'll see in a second. And then I was gonna put some more detail into this area, but I really love the way it turned out with nothing in it. It just, I don't know, it looked real to me. Like I've seen that before in real life, so I left it the way it is. I think it turned out great. I really love the way this park turned out. Like I said earlier, I would love to do my studying in this section of the campus. This is where I would be hanging out. This is where I would be doing some of my homework that I could do away from my dorm or wherever I live. That music means something if you've been around. we're getting to the end. Thank you for hanging out. We're gonna do a little bit more detailing, a little bit more trees in here, but we are winding down the episode. I'm back. The summer's been busy. It's starting to wind down. Yes, it's still summer, but school's coming in a couple weeks. That means summer vacations are over, breaks are over, back to the regular routines. I'm gonna try to do these once a week. I'm gonna try to bust out a couple a week, maybe for a little bit. Don't hold me to that. I shouldn't have said that. We're gonna try to get back to at least once a week, maybe some other content on YouTube as well, not just City Skylines, or not just like Sockside's videos, but here's our little cinematic showing everything that we've done in this episode. You can see some things that weren't in the recording. A lot of areas still looks plain. That's what we're gonna get to in the next episode. But like always, thanks for hanging out. If you've made it this far, 22 minutes into the video, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend. I have no idea what I'm talking about here. Hit up the Discord in the description. It's not very active. I'm trying to get more active on there, get the community growing, get people showing their builds. Any game that you're playing, we're into all kinds of games at this point in my YouTube and Twitch career, or journey, I should say. But again, thanks for hanging out. And it seems like the word of the day is trial and error. That is not a word, it is a phrase, but we're gonna go with it. But again, I'm Sockside. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope to see you on the next episode of Lake Sockside.